Factoring trinomials using the box method. Today we're going to be looking at how you can factor trinomials. I know that when you were taught previously, y'all were taught with the box method and the X. I just use the box. This is the same thing as unfoiling. So let's look at x squared minus 14x plus 33. Step 1 is going to be to take your two ends and multiply them. And so that's going to give us a positive 33x squared. We're going to look and see all the factors that could create a positive 33. Each of the terms is going to need an x. So to create 33, I could do 1x times 33, negative 1x times negative 33x, and negative 3 times 11x, 3x times the negative 11x, and a positive 3x times 11x. So our goal in this is to come up with what would create a sum of this middle number with these factors that we came up with down here. Which one of those will create that sum? So we'll look at each one of them individually. So looking at the first one, if I was to add 1 plus 33, that would give us 34x. That doesn't work. Negative 1 plus negative 33 gives us a negative 34x. That's still not working. A negative 3 plus a negative 11 gives us a negative 14x. That's our goal. These two numbers are going to go in the diagonal that would have been our up when we were dealing with the matrices. So negative 3x and negative 11x. It doesn't matter which one of those two you put it in. The other diagonal is going to come from the numbers. So straight from what we started with, x squared and a positive 33. We're going to pull out the factors. We're going to find the common factor in each column. We're looking for that GCF for the column. And we're going to look for the GCF for each row. We're going to place the columns on the top and the rows on the left. So x squared minus 3x, the common factor is an x. And you take the sign of the one that's closest. And so the sign was positive on the x squared, so we wrote a positive x. On negative 11x and 33, the common factor is 11, and we're going to take a negative because this is negative here. Now let's do the rows. X squared and a negative 11x. I guess it's a common factor of an x. Negative 3x and 33. This is a common factor of a negative 3 because the closest sign is negative. Now let's go over to our two parentheses, and you're going to write what we factored out in each parenthesis. So x minus 11 and x minus 3. That's your answer. Let's do another one. So first step is to take and find the common factors, or find the product of that so we can find the factors to use. So we have 10x squared, and that's going to give us this time it was a negative 10x squared. So that means to get a product that's negative, we need a positive and a negative. So we have a 1 and a 10x, 1x and a 10x. And we have it with a negative 1. And then we'll do the same thing with a negative 10. Then we have 2x and 5x. And for the negative on the 2 first, and the negative on the 5 second. And 3 and 4 will not go in evenly, so that's all our factors. So we're going to go one by one on each row and see which one of these creates the goal that we want. So negative 1 plus 10 is going to give me a 9x. Our goal, remember, is to get a sum that equals that middle number. And so we have, on the next one, a negative 9x. On the next one, we have a positive 3x. On the last one, we have a negative 3x. So this is the one that creates what we want. So we'll put the factors in our downs from like the matrices. So negative 5x and 2x. Again, which one goes where does not matter. Now let's create the other numbers, x squared and negative 10. Looking at each row or each column, we're going to look for the common factors. So let's start with the first column. X squared and negative 5x gives us an x that's a common factor. 2x and a negative 10x, or excuse me, negative 10 gives us a 2 that's a common factor. The closest sign is positive, so it's a positive 2. Now let's do the rows. On the top row, x squared and positive 2x as a common factor of x. Negative 5 and negative 10 has a common factor of 5. The closest sign is negative, so it's a negative 5. Create your two parentheses. X plus 2, x minus 5. And this does not matter if you write it this order or if you chose to write it as x minus 5, x plus 2. They are the same answer, just written in a different order. It's the same as 2 times 3 is 6 and 3 times 2 is 6. One last one. So in this one, we take our two outside numbers and multiply them. And that gives us 16x squared. Now we're going to try to come up with all the factors that make up 16x squared, a positive 16x squared. We have 1x and 16x, negative 1x and negative 16x, 2x and 8x, negative 2x and negative 8x, a positive 4x and a positive 4x, and a negative 4x and a negative 4x. This time we're looking to see if we can come up with a sum that is equal to that middle term, which was 10x. So if I take the sum of my first two, 1x plus 16x gives me 17x. Negative 1x plus a negative 16x gives me a negative 17x, so we're still not there. 2x plus 8x gives me a positive 10x. So that one worked. So to my diagonal is 2x and 8x. And my other diagonal is the x squared and the positive 16. So when I looked for my common factors, in my first column, I have an x that I can bring, because x squared and 8x, common factor is x. 2x and 16, common factor is 2. Take my first row. Oh, and that's a positive 2 because the closest to is positive. X squared and 2x gives me an x. 8x and 16 gives me an 8, and the 8 is positive, so it's plus. And so my factors are x plus 2, x plus 8, and that's the answer.